The pin description formula. Writing copy that ranks in search and still gets the click. Most pin descriptions are either keyword soup or empty fluff. Here's the sentence structure that satisfies the algorithm and the human scrolling past it. Open 10 random pins from creators in your niche and read only the descriptions. 9 of them will fall into one of 2 failure modes. A wall of keywords stapled together with no verb in sight. Budget planner, printable finance tracker, monthly, weekly, daily habit tracker. Or a vague vibe post that could describe literally anything. Loving this so much, link in bio. Neither one works. The first gets buried because Pinterest's search algorithm rewards relevance and clarity, not density. The second never surfaces at all because there's nothing for the algorithm to match a search query against. The gap between those 2 failure modes is exactly where a good pin description lives, and it follows a structure you can reuse on every single pin you make. Why most pin descriptions fail before they're even read. Pinterest is a visual search engine before it's a social feed, which means every pin description is competing for the same real estate as a Google meta description. It has to be legible to a ranking algorithm and persuasive to a scrolling thumb, often in under 500 characters and realistically in the first 60. Creators tend to optimize for only one of those readers. Keyword stuffers write for the algorithm and lose the human. Nobody taps a pin that reads like a search query typed by mistake. Vibe posters write for the human and lose the algorithm. Pinterest can't rank what it can't pass. So a pin with no identifiable keyword phrase simply won't show up when someone searches weekly meal prep template, even if that's precisely what you're selling. The fix isn't a compromise between the 2 goals. It's a sentence structure where the keyword phrase and the human hook are the same words, arranged so both jobs get done at once. The formula: keyword, benefit, soft CTA. Every high-performing pin description you'll find, once you strip away the styling, follows the same 3-part order. Primary keyword phrase, the exact 3-5-word term your buyer would type into Pinterest's search bar, placed in the first sentence, ideally the first 6 words. Concrete benefit, what changes for them. Stated as an outcome with a number or time frame attached wherever possible, not an adjective. Soft call to action. A low-pressure next step. Grab the template. Save this for later. Tap to see the full guide, rather than a hard sell. Here's the formula applied to 3 different niches, so you can see the shape repeat. Notice that the weak version and the strong version often contain nearly the same keywords. The difference is that the formula version puts the keyword phrase in a real sentence, attaches a specific benefit, and ends with an action instead of trailing off. Front-load the first 50-60 characters. Pinterest truncates descriptions in feed well before the full text shows, and mobile users almost never tap see more. Write your primary keyword phrase and core benefit inside the first sentence, before any punctuation that isn't a comma, so the truncated version still makes sense and still ranks. Finding the actual keyword phrase people search. The keyword slot in the formula only works if the phrase is one real people actually type, not one you assume they type. Pinterest's own search bar is the fastest free research tool available. Type your topic, meal prep, and read the autocomplete suggestions and the guided search pills that appear above the results. Those are aggregated real queries, refreshed constantly. Do this for every product page you plan to pin, and keep a running list of the 3-4 phrases that show up again and again across variations. Those are your primary keyword candidates, and they should rotate across your pin descriptions rather than being copy-pasted identically on every pin, since Pinterest's algorithm also rewards variety across a board. Writing the benefit line so it's specific, not just nice. Amazing, life-changing, and you'll love this are the 3 phrases doing the least work in creator copy right now, because they describe a feeling instead of a result. A benefit line earns its place in the formula only if it answers a concrete question. How much time, how much money, how much effort, by when? Compare, "This planner will change your life," to "This planner cuts weekly meal planning from an hour to 15 minutes. The second one is checkable, memorable, and gives the algorithm a specific phrase to match against searches like quick meal planning. Primary keyword phrase appears in the first sentence, not buried in the middle. First 60 characters make sense on their own if everything after gets cut off. Benefit line includes a number, time frame, or measurable outcome, not just an adjective. Call to action is soft and specific. Save this, grab the template, rather than generic. Click here. Description reads like one real sentence out loud, not a list of tags separated by spaces. The linked page actually delivers the exact benefit promised in the description. The click doesn't end at the pin, it ends at checkout. A perfectly written pin description that drives someone to a slow, confusing, or mismatched landing page is a wasted click. And Pinterest's algorithm quietly notices when your outbound clicks don't convert into engagement or repines. It treats that as a signal your content isn't actually satisfying the search intent, and future reach suffers. This is the part creators skip. The promise in the description has to be the first thing the visitor sees when the page loads, worded almost identically, so there's zero gap between what they clicked for and what they land on. If your storefront is a generic homepage with 10 unrelated products, that promise gets diluted the second someone arrives. This is exactly why a dedicated link in bio storefront matters for Pinterest traffic specifically. You want the pin to link straight to the one product page that matches the description, not a general landing page the visitor has to hunt through. A store. Fan storefront gives every product its own clean page with a clear price and instant checkout. So grab the template in your description can point directly at the template, and the buyer goes from tap to download in one motion instead of getting lost. The pin gets the click. The landing page has to keep the promise. Break that chain, and the algorithm learns to stop showing your content at all. It's worth building this habit before you scale up pinning volume, not after. If you haven't set up a dedicated page for every product yet, that's the higher leverage fix to make this week. Create your store and give each pin-worthy product its own link before you write another description, because no amount of copywriting fixes a mismatched destination. Setup takes minutes, and you can see the full structure in action on a live example store if you want a model to copy. Turning one pin into a repeatable description system. The real win isn't nailing one great description. It's building a system so every new pin takes 2 minutes instead of 20. Keep a running spreadsheet with 3 columns matching the formula. Keyword phrase, benefit stat, CTA phrase. For each new pin, pull one item from each column, combine them into a sentence, and adjust the wording so it reads naturally rather than mechanically. Over a month of pinning 3 to 5 times a week. This turns description writing from a creative bottleneck into a 5-minute assembly step, and it keeps your phrasing varied enough that Pinterest doesn't flag your board as repetitive. It's also worth revisiting descriptions on your best performing pins every few weeks. Pinterest search trends shift with seasons. Budget planner spikes in January, gift guide spikes in November. So swapping in a currently trending keyword phrase on an existing high-performing pin can extend its life well past its original posting date without creating a new pin from scratch. The compounding effect. A well-formulated pin description doesn't just earn one click, it earns reshares, saves, and continued search ranking for months, sometimes years, after you post it. That's the entire appeal of Pinterest over faster decaying platforms. Copy you write once, correctly, keeps working while you're doing something else. None of this replaces having something worth clicking through to. A perfect description on an empty or half-built storefront just sends curious traffic to a dead end, which is the single most common reason Pinterest-driven sales never materialize even when the pins themselves are getting decent reach. If your store isn't set up yet, that's the actual bottleneck, not your copywriting. Spend 20 minutes getting your product pages live, priced, and ready to accept a payment before you spend another hour polishing pin descriptions for pages that don't yet close the sale. Once your product pages are live and matched to the descriptions you're writing, the formula above becomes a genuine growth lever instead of just better wording. Check plans to see what's included as your Pinterest traffic scales, and browse more guides on the specific mechanics of turning cold platform traffic, Pinterest, TikTok, or otherwise, into actual paying customers rather than just page views. Key takeaways. Pin descriptions have two audiences at once: Pinterest's search index and the human deciding whether to tap. And the winning copy serves both in the same sentence. The repeatable formula is primary keyword phrase, concrete benefit, soft call to action. In that order, front-loaded, your first 50-60 characters matter most. That's what shows in feed before see more truncates the rest. Specific numbers and outcomes outperform adjectives every time. Saves 3 hours a week, beats amazing time saver. The destination the pin links to has to deliver on the exact promise in the description, or your click-through gains evaporate at checkout. Start your creator store free at store.fan.